La 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 la. Ba-doom, 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 ba-doom.
Oh, welcome to the Hallmark
La,
After Show 2020
la,
podcast, everybody.
la.
I am
I'm
your.
done.
It's okay. I'm your host, Will Carey, and joining me is my co-host Laz McGee, aka my wife Chelsea Connor. Hi, dear.
Hi. Sorry, I just got really excited because it's Friday.
Oh my God, it is so Friday, and I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, no, it's Friday with a Y-A-Y at the end.
That's what I said.
Oh, okay. Just want to be clear with
Yeah,
our
I just
listeners.
didn't have the yay
No, you got to yay it up, man.
in the title.
How is everyone this great cold and rainy week?
Oh, what? Yeah, it's finally feeling like winter,
Yes, sort of wintry mix.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I could have gone outside without a jacket today and been fine, but
Controversial.
still. Well, I'm in the holiday spirit, certainly coming from Thanksgiving because we went to the zoo this past.
We went to the zoo. We didn't buy it
Thanksgiving
though
weekend.
because that's crazy.
No, didn't buy a zoo.
But we did enjoy going to the Bronx Zoo in New York, which is a formidable zoo run by the Wildlife Conservation Society, and just a really cool place to go and hang out. And the Holiday Lights show is awesome. No, we're not being sponsored by them, but I'm really excited about it. I hadn't gone since I was a kid, and so
Oh,
it
yeah?
was like really cool to see what 20 years does to a light show.
Yeah, if anything, I think they've built on it. And you said there are some new things because the Holiday Lights to me reminds me of this thing in my hometown called the Garden and Lights,
Right.
which is a similar thing where you walk through the woods and there are these very cool ornate light displays. But the cool thing about the Bronx Zoo one is that it's in the zoo.
Yeah, and it's like animal based too. So like all your lights are gonna be animals. So you're guaranteed awesome animalness. Whereas the Amory Gardens in Lights is not always animals, and so you have to be accepting of things like snowflakes and
Snorlax.
Snorlax, Pokemon.
Yeah, whatever
I
the
guess
pop
those are
culture.
animals.
Yeah, they're animals of a type. They're
Superman.
not. Yeah, whatever the pop culture zeitgeist is.
Du jour, yeah.
At the time, and decorations play a big part in our film today because we're talking about.
Oh yes, they do.
They're pretty central. We are talking about the Christmas house.
Nice pivot, by the way. I just want to call that
Oh,
out.
thank you, dear.
Podcast host.
I appreciate that. Directed. Well, we have two directors. One is Lance H. Robbins, and the other director is Michael Grossman. And if we're talking about bringing star power to the Hallmark Channel movies this year, well then, oh my gosh! Because one of our co-leads, because I think this movie is like an ensemble cast.
Ensemble.
Yeah.
They spent more money on the cast than they did on the set.
Well, yeah, because this is another one of those films that kind of takes place all mostly in one location. But I'm most excited about starring from Cake Wars and Mean Girls, Jonathan Bennett is in this movie.
Yeah, and I was most excited by it's Treat Williams who played the doctor on the show Everwood. We have a lot of Everwood reoccurrences in this Hallmark season, apparently.
Yes, and our lead actress was also in Captain Marvel from the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
So basically, this movie appeals to every genre of movie watcher. You'll have a fan favorite. So
yeah, I always find it interesting when I see actors that I've seen in like big movies and then they pop up in things like the Hallmark Channel movies.
Everyone has to pay the bills. Well,
Well,
and not
it's
everyone
about,
can.
You got to keep getting. I mean, there's no shame in working. You just got to keep getting those gigs. I think it's very cool to have a varied and interesting filmography.
Yeah, I talked to a reporter today and I mentioned that you were a stand-up comedian. He's like, "Oh, would I have seen him?" And I was like, "Maybe." But I think that you're like really particular about where and how you perform and like you're authentic about it. Whereas, some people sell out to Blockbuster and Fox 21st Century, but you, sir, have not done that. So kudos to you.
Oh, well, sweetie, it is to quote Mark Maron, it is incredibly easy to keep your credibility when no one is offering to buy it.
Oh, I mean, I was just going to go on the fact that like you just wouldn't give it up. So either way,
Well,
kudos to you
I'm very
for not selling out to Coca-Cola or McDonald's or Chick-fil-A.
I'm very punk rock, very DIY. Listeners, you may have seen me in the background of an episode of Law and Order SVU.
Whoa.
I don't talk about my extra work that often, but I was on SVU. I was background on The Big C on Showtime.
And you were in the New York Times, which is what I usually cite to reporter people who are like, "Oh, your husband's a stand-up comedian." I'm like, "Why, yes.
Yes.
He was even in the national paper of record, the Gray Lady."
I most certainly was. That is what I'm most excited about. That and my podcast Between Awesome and Disaster. But I love doing this podcast with you because this is I don't do tons of podcasts where I'm like discussing or reviewing movies, and nobody is really talking about Hallmark except you and I. And if there's some other podcasts, but no one's asking my opinion on Hallmark except you.
Yeah, I think the like Venn diagram of podcast listeners and Hallmark movie watchers is probably really just as narrow to our listeners. So thank you all of you for tuning in, because today really this movie was high on my list. I really liked it, and it's called The Christmas House. And I know Will loves to read the synopsis, so I won't take that from him. But I think this was a joy to watch, and another added element of Hallmark's woke Christmas.
There is a lot to say for woke Christmas. I have a lot to say about the plot of this movie as well, but I'm very curious to hear your thoughts about it. So just to get through our synopsis very quickly, working through some difficult decisions, a mother and father summon their 2 grown sons home for the holidays. That's what the plot gives you, but this movie is so much more.
That's all they give you?
That's
Whoa,
all
that doesn't make me want to watch this.
But
shame on you, Hallmark.
But so we're going to do Hallmark's job for them. So first of all, I love the way this movie opens because one of the brothers, not the guy from Cake Wars, but the other brother, he's an actor living in Los Angeles, and he is the lead in a lawyer show, which seems like one of those like network like TV dramas. And he's the lead on a show called Handsome Justice, which I think should be a real TV show because I know people will watch it.
I just want to tell our listeners that you did like I don't even know how to describe it, an action when you like said Handsome Justice.
Yeah,
that,
I got into it.
That was really impressive.
You're welcome.
So basically, the actor plays himself, but
yeah, because he's a handsome lawyer, and his parents need him to come home for the holidays back to upstate New York.
Right, a nondescript town, upstate New York, which is what all of upstate is, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I've been to all 68 counties, folks, or 64. I've been to all of them on the Spitzer for Governor tour.
Oh, really?
And it's hard to name them all. There's so many, and they're so fantastic in all of their unique and adorable ways. But so we don't know where this one is, but we know that it's close enough to be able to get to New York City within like, I don't know, hour and a half. So it's probably realistically downstate, as the governor might call it. But but yeah, so he goes to this town, and his brother comes to the town too. His brother runs a bakery in Colorado, which has been a recurring theme throughout this Hallmark season.
Yes.
And
people run bakeries.
His brother, wait for it, woke Hallmark, is gay. And I don't know why I whisper it, but I feel like I'm Jewish, and like in our religion, we whisper like things that might be perceived as negative, but being gay is not negative. So I don't know why I did that. But,
exactly. And also, and I will say this, he's not like stereotypical gay. He's not like a stereotypical like hello, like flaming kind of gay. If anything, I feel like the way his this brother bullies the other brother, it's in a very like classic like Will Ferrell heteronormative brother kind of way. It's like there's like lots of like, oh, I see we're on a coffee break. It's not like we're not painting like broad strokes and stereotypes with this.
No, definitely
the way he plays the
not.
character.
But I would also say, Will and I know lots of gay couples and lots of gay friends and transgendered friends and questioning friends, and just to try and cover all of my bases. But I would also say too, like this would be like a more accurate portrayal of what a modern gay relationship is like. And so I'm really proud of Hallmark for zeroing in on that, but also like focusing in on the fact that they've struggled to adopt a child.
Yeah, that's their story, is that they're trying to adopt a child and they're up for the third time.
Yeah, and I think that can be really heartbreaking. I mean, adoption is something that Will and I talk a lot about. And you know, it is a heartbreaking process, but what an incredible thing to do. And we've had a lot of adoptive families in this Hallmark season too, which is nice.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. We're going to get into more adoption in some future movies. So the brother and his husband are home for the holidays as well, and
so it sort of feels like there's three brothers together. That was more what the train I was going on. Is
right.
That
they all feel like everybody feels like they're a part
very
of
close.
They're a part of the family. Yes, absolutely. And the title of the movie, the titular Christmas House, is referring to, I'm going to say, the explosion of Christmas decorations that the parents do to their house every
inside
season.
and out too.
Inside and out. Like, I'm sure if you're listening, there is probably at least one house in your neighborhood, listener, that goes way overboard on holiday decorations.
Yeah, this is more than that. They will beat that house and eat it up and chew it up and spit it out for dinner, because they basically transform the entirety of their house inside as well. All of the furniture goes into storage. All the Christmas decorations come out of storage. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of lights, a train room, multiple Christmas trees go up inside and outside. There's a full performance that goes on. And so unlike every other Hallmark movie where there's a Christmas festival, one would think that this actual Christmas house on Christmas Eve is the town festival.
It essentially is, because people who don't live there, they come through to see this house. There's I'm going to say a whimsical older gentleman who comes through because he's heard of the vaulted Christmas house. And I have to say, the mom in this movie, super type A. And there's one trait of hers.
Yeah, I like her.
I thought you might, but there's one trait of hers that I don't like. Like, she makes lists and everyone has tasks when it comes to making the Christmas house.
That's how things get done.
That's no problem. The thing I don't like is that she runs around her house blowing a whistle at people. I don't like that. And I hope that never becomes a pattern in this apartment, dear.
No, I don't think it will. But also, like, any moms out there that have multiple boys, I'm thinking about my sister-in-law. It's a lot to handle that. Like, boys have a lot of energy, and I don't mean to like gender stereotype, but I totally am. So I'm sorry about that. But you know, I think it's like, how do you get everyone to focus? And when you're like a mom of two boys and your husband who kind of acts like a kid too, so it's like, and then you throw in the husband too of one son, it's like one woman, four men, make it happen.
Exactly. And then also throw into this mix the childhood love interest who is back.
Yes, because we can't have just a homosexual relationship in this movie. We must have a heterosexual one brewing, because it wouldn't be Hallmark without it.
Exactly. So we have the love interest of our handsome lawyer. He has a name, but I'm calling him handsome lawyer.
None of them have names.
Because it's funny. So his childhood friend, who has moved back home after a divorce, she's a single mom now. Their thing is they liked each other and they used to do magic together.
Literal magic,
like literal stand on a stage, make rabbit out of a top hat kind of magic.
She's also a Latina woman who grew up in upstate New York with like a little bit of an accent. Like, it's just kind of an interesting twist to all this, is like, how did your family settle in this town? But okay, we're going with it.
Well, you know, there's a thing called immigration, and it just it happens. People from all over the world go to other places all over the world, and that's called immigration.
And she has a child, and she mentions that her child's husband is abroad, like vaguely abroad.
Yeah, and it's just like a non-specific. He was like, I need to be anywhere else except where you are.
And our child.
Yeah, so we have this tentative reconnection, and this is something that I want to talk about in terms of this movie. We've got major changes happening over the course of this movie around the holidays, and I just think that that's poor timing, because the holidays the holidays are busy. There's a lot of stuff going on, and there's supposed to be a time of joy. So you're going to throw in the big twist we learn when they're packing up all of the furniture to get it out of the house to bring in the decorations for the Christmas house, is that and I just put my hand on Chelsea's knee as I'm saying this. This will be the last Christmas house.
Dun dun dun. Joy ruined.
Because the parents are selling the house. But
Because
why? But because of some vague sense of like it sounds like they're getting divorced, but it's
like amicable.
yeah, like they both want different things and they're trying to figure it out. And as
Well,
someone who
okay.
has some experience with divorce around Christmas time,
Yeah.
I just think that's a January endeavor, personally.
January endeavor. I
Personally.
like that. I mean, what happens is the husband in the family, Treat Williams, retires like arguably a year or so and change ahead of his wife, and he sort of has developed all these new hobbies and joys like hiking and things that like she just wasn't part of because she was still acting as a principal of the school. And I would say that happens at many points in couples' lives where one has gone off one way and the other one's gone this way, and they're not sort of connecting and in sync the way that they used to be. But the good news is that the joy of this Christmas house makes them remember why they love each other. But like I wouldn't say it was like a contentious divorce. Like we've seen a lot of Hollywood Christmas movies where like the whole point of having Christmas is to tell the children we're getting divorced. Like it's definitely a common thing.
Yeah, and I just don't understand why that is. It's like, why do you want to take what is, I'm gonna say broadly accepted as one of the happier times of the year, and why would you want to permanently stain the happiest time of the year with the saddest memory, one of the sadder memories of your life?
I think it's two things. It's like nostalgia for the holiday season that once was when you were all happy together, and the practicality of like gathering your children up in the same place together. So that they can like hear this news in person and like grieve it together. That's my guess. It's like anytime my father calls me when I'm like when I used to commute to and from work, and he'd be like, I can't talk to you while you're commuting. I need you to be sitting down. I'm like, oh shit, something really bad is going to happen. Right. And 9 times out of 10, it is bad news. But like, I think that's the idea here, is that like parents here don't want to hurt their children in any way, shape or form. And they want them to feel like they're in a safe place with joy surrounding them when they hear that news, which is not what happened with your parents. But
joy. Well, I'll tell you from experience, joy becomes canceled, and then unfortunately, it's up to everyone else in your life to try to mend the void.
But usually, what happens in these movies, and I think in real life too, is like they're not trying to spoil Christmas. They're trying to spoil the day after Christmas. But usually, the cat's out of the bag sooner, which is exactly what happens here, because his childhood love interest has actually moved home to this town to live in and is starting her real estate business, and Wade has been given this opportunity to sell the house.
Right. But then also at the same time, we learn that Handsome Justice gets canceled.
Yeah. But like half-assedly, like they sort of cancel it, and then they're like, but there's one last chance. We'll have a Christmas Eve meeting in New York, which I'm sorry, but
very
no work
unrealistic.
happens Christmas Eve in New York. Like I'll give them the 23rd, but like it's not happening on Christmas Eve.
Yeah. But despite all of this flurry of activity, we have we've got handsome lawyer and Latina Upstate just made their screen names. They start to bond, and the way that it happens is not only by helping with the Christmas house, but because handsome lawyer teaches Latina Upstate's kid,
Latina Upstate, like
or Latinx, whatever your preferred. Whatever the preferred pronoun is.
If our friends Megan and Ronald are listening, please let us know what the preferred term is.
Handsome lawyer teaches her son magic, and there's a symbolic passing of the torch, which I did not realize. And the other thing, and the other interesting thing, and this is something that you brought up while we were watching the movie as well, is what kind of small upstate like New York hamlet has like a full-blown magic shop. To me, that's a thing you get like after your day in the city, kind of a thing.
Yeah, I mean it's like definitely in the village and it's definitely dank and tiny, but
Yes,
I
below
kudos
14th Street.
kudos to Hallmark to not just having the regular toy store again because we've seen that like 6 times now.
Yeah, and I will say I've been on the lookout like the past 6 movies for the roasted chestnuts card, and it has not appeared recently. So that's and so
I'm sorry.
despite all of these characters' personal turmoil, the Christmas house is coming together, and there are interested buyers for the Christmas house.
Right, which is just a house the rest of the year, just to be clear.
Yeah, it's just a house. But I will say, once they get all the decorations in, and like a stage gets set up for this
Yeah.
magic show, it becomes like a little mini magic Christmas Lollapalooza.
Like
In
really,
this,
it's
in,
like.
in this like suburban
Have you ever
neighborhood.
been to like the Christmas store, Will?
Yes,
It's like
I have
that,
been
but
to
like
many a
I
Christmas
know
store.
I've dragged him into them because they're cute. But in any event, it's like that, but like times 1,000 because it's like every single lawn ornament you could imagine, every single lighting effect you could imagine. Like it outdoes the Bronx Zoo for sure.
Yeah,
But it was amazing, and there was a stage, so it basically becomes the town festival, which is probably why there's no chestnuts. And I'm sorry about that. I'll get you some chestnuts though.
I appreciate it, dear. And the big turning point, because handsome lawyer's agent has flown from Los Angeles, and this agent is like what I imagine a stereotypical agent is. Like she's on the treadmill while talking to her clients.
Is she the agent though? Because I feel like she's also like the producer of the show too. Like she's clearly got many hats in this.
She's heavily invested in this.
Yeah, she's like, handsome justice is my life. And if it doesn't continue, I will not continue to have my work treadmill.
And then so she goes to New York so that they can have this Christmas Eve late in the afternoon meeting. And the show, and here's the thing you were saying about the cancellation being kind of half-assed, is they don't cancel it, they just want to change something about the show, and they kind of go through all of the like boring, like add new characters, blah 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 kind of shows. And then the handsome lawyer, because he has to get back in time for the big magic show, because Latina Upstate's son needs him there.
Sorry, I can't. I'm still stuck on that. But yes, Latina Upstate's son, Noah,
Yes.
is his name. I remember the kid's name.
Yeah, and her name is Andy.
Oh.
She's played by Anya Aurora, Ayora.
Andy's not a Latina name, but okay. We're
No.
just going with it. That's my mom's name, by the way.
Yes,
She's not Latina.
spelled the same way. So a handsome lawyer, he decides he's like, I got to go. Best of luck to you. So he's making the right personal choice.
Yeah, and his
over
plan
career.
is like, I'm gonna live in upstate New York now with Andy and Noah.
Well, yeah, the whole thing becomes, I'm choosing this. I want this life. He sees that he wants to connect with her and her son, and he wants this kind of like.
But LA is warm and sunny and 70 degrees all year round.
I've heard LA is great. I've never spent a ton of time there,
Me
but
neither.
I would like to.
Any listeners in LA that want to host us for a week will come out and we'll do like a Hallmark show in your yard.
Exactly. I will listen. I will listen to your screenplay. I will listen to you pitch your pilot to me. Any kind of showbiz thing.
I'll cook you a
You need-
dinner
Yeah.
if we can stay there for a week.
and we or and then if Chelsea's not cooking, we'll go to In-N-Out for lunch. We'll do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Do
Totally
the-
on us if we can stay there for free.
Exactly. I mean, I feel like that's a
That's
pretty,
our pitch.
that's a pretty sweet deal.
But back to the show. So he returns to Upstate New York.
Yes, Upstate New York.
Upstate, which is really downstate based on how far it is from New York City.
Yeah.
But we're suspending disbelief.
And Noah puts on this, I'm going to say, incredible magic show that the crowd is just 100% in for. I've never seen magic received so warmly.
I have to say, like, this is yet another like specific reference that we all know and love, like classical music, or waltzing, which we're going to get to next week. That like everyone knows is a thing, but like people don't do in real life. That Hallmark has
Right.
focused on as the thing in this movie. So it's like everything's magic. There's
Yeah.
like missed sleight of hand constantly.
Mm-hmm. But the crowd is just very enthusiastic, and
They
then
love it.
and
And
then-
then Santa comes.
yes, Santa shows up in that trick where they go into the cabinet, spin it around, and then somebody else shows up, and Santa Claus appears.
Santa.
played by our dad, played by Treat Williams. And the thing I remember most about this is that after he's giving presents out to all the children as part of the show, this is where he and his wife, they have a reconnect moment, and this is when they realize that maybe they don't have to do the trial separation.
Right. They can go hiking together in another upstate New York town that's like not the same town,
but kind of looks like,
but not that far from there.
Yeah. I mean, I find upstate New York towns quite wonderful, but I cannot tell the difference between like Rye and insert name of other town because I can't think of one. And then in our biggest swerve, and we're not worrying too much here. Although I will say, magically, a Handsome Lawyer's agent has worked out that there's going to be a East Coast spinoff of Handsome Justice
that takes place in New York City.
So he still gets to be an actor
1 hour away from this upstate town, which is impossible, but we're going with it.
Yeah, we're just accepting that. I'm guessing it's at like as wherever the line between the Bronx and Westchester County is, he's on the first step over.
Yeah, it's like Tarrytown or Nyack. It's like one of those towns. But anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So he still gets to be an actor. So even though he makes the sacrifice for the career, the man doesn't have to sacrifice his career like the women in these movies tend to do.
Which is so lovely.
Well,
and
baby steps, I suppose.
Yeah, and because he's going to be, so close in New York City, and he has all this money from being the handsome justicer, he decides that he's going to buy the Christmas house.
Oh, and the Christmas house lives on.
Yeah, because he's just going to live there and do this every year with, his own mini family.
And you see that happens because we see flashbacks to, and we also see that the adoption it goes through.
Yeah, which is nice too.
It's very nice.
But we don't talk about him adopting Noah, which is kind of funny. But
well, yeah, that's just kind of accepted.
Right.
Yeah, I guess there's no turmoil with that because it's like, oh, okay, you're a handsome lawyer. You're on TV. Celebrities have it so easy,
So, what do you give this movie, Will Carey?
What do I give this movie? I'm gonna say this one's high up for me. What do we have? We've got Jingle, not Jingle Bell. Maybe yes, Jingle Bell Bride.
Yeah, that's our
got
favorite so far. That's at 4.5 because we adjusted it from 4.
Okay, I'd give this a 4. This ranks high up there for me because we have magic, both literal and actual. We have
actual magic.
We've got the idea for a fake show that I think absolutely needs to be a real show, and we've got a
handsome justice.
And we've got a very charming ensemble cast with a lot of diversity.
A lot of red, white, and green going on, and Christmas lights and joy.
Absolutely.
I would sort of agree with you. I'm going to give it a 4.2.
Ooh.
5.
Okay.
And say, because we've given some other movies 4s, I think. We're not super generous with them. But I would say it's my next favorite under Jingle Bell Bride, and I just want it to edge just a touch higher, mostly because I enjoyed that this movie seemed to have slightly different holiday decorations than all the other movies have had, which brought me joy and magic and really great ideas to decorate our entire house as the Christmas house. Will
well
stay tuned.
Well, spectacular. Follow Hallmark After Show Pod on Instagram, and you can see you'll see our apartment slowly turn into the Christmas house from the Christmas house.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I have a lot of Target orders coming, but
we'll
get there.
I can't wait. I also want to point out, I feel like you thought I was going to be a little bit more of a Grumpy Pants McGee on this podcast because I'm the Grinch in the logo. But I feel like I've done a pretty good job about judging these movies fairly and not being like the guy who's like, I minored in film. I've seen The Godfather. Like that.
Yeah,
kind of
I mean, I thought that the Grinch was a fun character to include in our logo. I wouldn't say that you're a Grinch on the podcast, but I would say that the idea of watching 44 hours of Hallmark movies was more that what I thought you'd be a Grinch about, not the actual movies themselves, but the time commitment to this project.
Sweetie, there is nothing but time right now.
I know. Well, that's part of it. But also, it was funny. We were talking in the last episode. So we watched some of these movies over Thanksgiving with my parents. And, you know, my dad is like just a practical guy. He'll like tell you what the plot's going to be. He's like, spoiler alert. This is, well, he doesn't say spoiler alert, but he's just like, they're going to get together. And so in a way, like almost my dad is more of the Grinch. So maybe we should change the logo and invite him on the podcast and get his opinions. Because he, ladies and gentlemen, hasn't just watched the premieres like Will and I. He's seen every single one that's aired this season.
Whoa.
And not just on Hallmark Channel. Let's not forget that there are many other channels with holiday cheer, like Lifetime. He's also been subjected to the ones on the Netflix from my mom.
A friend of mine from the comedy community was in a recent Netflix Christmas movie. We should do a bonus episode and talk about that one.
Yeah, and there's some new movies on Hulu. So if you folks love this podcast and love the joy that we are bringing to your household this season, shout out to everyone who tunes in and listens every week. But if there are other movies you'd like us to watch and subject ourselves to this holiday season, Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa Carl related, we are game. So make some recommendations to us on the socials and we'll get at it.
Yeah, because that's just the kind of show we do. We aim to please. Let us know. I'm on Twitter. I'm at Comic Will Carry and at Will Carry 23 on Instagram.
And I'm at Chelsea Connor everywhere because I got into the social media game early.
Got in super early. And yeah, if there's other holiday movies you want us to discuss, we will gladly do it.
Yeah, including The Grinch maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was a remake. But yeah, we love bringing you joy. So tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Tell us where you rank these movies and, you know, what your thoughts are. And next up, you know, we've got quite a litany of movies to review from last week from Thanksgiving. So forgive me, I can't remember the order precisely, but we've got some good ones coming up. And we're excited to share them with you all.
Yeah. And thanks for being here, guys. And we will talk to you again real soon. La 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 la. Bye. Bye, everybody.